Good evening, everyone. How are we all doing? Welcome back to another stream on the channel. Lots of stuff to get into tonight. Some very strange transfer news around Wilfried Zaha. Obviously, Facundo Buonanotte was announced today as a Leicester City player. And Leicester also played a game today where it's fair to say didn't go too well. So we're going to get into all of that tonight. We're going to start off with the Wilfried Zaha rumours because I think, that's where we should start because it's pretty mental. And there's a chance that he could obviously be joining Leicester City on a loan deal this season, which could be a massive signing in my. We'll obviously talk about Buonanotte. We won't go into too much detail because obviously I did a stream on him the other day going in depth on his stats and whatnot for Brighton. But it's good to see that one over the line. Another signing in the door for Leicester City this summer. And then obviously we're going to try and dissect that game against Lens today, get some of the reaction from Steve Cooper because it's fair to say there was a bit of a meltdown on Twitter after that. And I think, rightly so. And I was probably part of that because I was not happy with how Leicester played today at all. I know it's only pre-season, but, that's it now. Our preseason campaign's done. We've lost 3 games. We've scraped past Shrewsbury and beat Villarreal behind closed doors. It's not promising by any stretch of the imagination. But anyway, as I always say, drop a like on the stream, subscribe as well to the channel if you Jesus haven't already. We're closing in on 4,000, so we can hit that by that Tottenham game. That'll be massively appreciated. I'm struggling already tonight, and obviously let me know thoughts in the chat throughout. Anyway. Straight into them. Now, originally, this was being reported from, the Turkish news outlets, so, it's not too reliable. But then David Ornstein tweeted on, and obviously he's very reliable in terms of transfer news. Now, this deal is nowhere near done. It's not close yet, but I imagine Leicester City have hopefully progressed over the last 24 hours in the obviously trying to get Wilfred Zaha. But yeah, Ornstein says that Leicester City are working on a deal to sign Wilfred Zaha from Galatasaray, 31-year-old winger available on a season-long loan. Not done, but LCFC in talks to obviously sign him from Galatasaray. Crystal Palace obviously have been interested. His former club. Now, I don't really know how he spells Zaha because originally I spelled it like that. Then I looked on his Wikipedia and it's got an I in it, so who knows? But anyway, that is the tweet from David Ornstein, which obviously broke the news originally. So I think there's a chance of this happening. Still a long way to go, but I think a move back to the Premier League could be on for Zaha. Obviously, he's currently at Galatasaray. Done all right, I think he has, but obviously he's a Turkish league, so maybe he wants to come back to England and obviously perform back out here. Obviously, move to Palace is probably more likely, but maybe he wants to mix it up. We'll have to wait and see. Do you see Zaha as a positive given? Yeah, 100%. 100%. I think Zaha is exactly what we need. Obviously, we are inundated with wingers right now, but even so, well, today we didn't really attack at all. But I think, I think in terms of Zaha, he's got that Premier League experience. He's played loads. He always seems to play well against Leicester. He rips us apart. And obviously, he's still a quality player. He's got that bit of unknown about him. He can take people on, and I think that's what Leicester City need. Definitely this season to get us up the pitch. So I think Zaha will be a fantastic piece of business if we can get that over the line. Obviously, there has been some more reports on that in terms of the structure of the deal if Leicester City were to get Wilfred Zaha. Obviously, like I said, it's going to be a loan. And Leicester apparently going to pay a loan fee of 9 million, which does seem pretty extreme. But yeah, I think it's one of them really. You're looking at a very good player who's on big wages at Galatasaray. There's a train going past, so ignore the sound. But yeah, I think 9 million is pretty extortionate for someone on loan for one season. But at the end of the day, we need experience. We need good players, and right now we don't really have that. So yeah, I wouldn't say no to it. The position potentially up top. Obviously, looks like Daka's going to be out for a bit now after his injury today. So maybe Zaha could be leading the line for Leicester next season. But it is a weird one because obviously I don't think we need any more wingers, to be perfectly honest. So that's why I think something a bit different could be up for Zaha. But as of right now, based on the performance today, God help us because we need as many people as we can possibly get because that was absolutely hopeless today against Lens. And I'm going to get onto that in a minute because I think that should be the main part of the stream because it's pretty much the curtain raiser. It's our last game before pre-season. We may have a behind closed doors game potentially next week because obviously we play on Monday. But yeah, it is a weird one in terms of Leicester's performance today. Just a bit more of on the latest on Zaha from today. This is from Fossil. It's not from anybody, but this is like his accumulation of sources. Every reporter said that we are not paying Zaha's salary. That's why the loan fee is big, which obviously does make sense. I believe his wage is about 80 grand at Galatasaray, which probably compared to Leicester City squad isn't actually too bad. Deal has no options to buy, but it's not a problem because we offered 30 million for Sule, who is our priority. so we won't have any problem paying 9 million, which obviously does make sense in terms of the deal for Zaha. Obviously, we let Sule go. We have got our Argentinian in though, obviously. In Facundo Buonanotte, which finally we got someone in through the door. Obviously, like I said, I won't talk about this too long, but it's good to see Leicester get another signing done and dusted. Sadly, he wasn't obviously involved today, but he was with the squad in Lens watching that disaster class. He's probably wondering why the hell have I signed for these guys, but yeah, good bit of business in my opinion. Obviously, we talked about him a lot the other night, so I'll just brush over this quickly. But obviously, it's a season-long loan deal. I can't really see him staying after it unless he loves Leicester, rips it apart. But yeah, it's good for Brighton as well. It is a bit of a weird one that Leicester are progressive Brighton's academy or youth players, but yeah. That's the situation we were in. But anyway, let's get back into the chat just before we move on to today's game, because I think we should very much go through that. How do you spell Zaha's name? I don't get it. Is it with an I or not? Because some people spell it one way, some people don't. It's a weird one. Anyway, we need a striker desperately, 100%. Very disappointing it was. Yeah, you're right. Daka injured. So there's no option to buy any of the two who I've just talked about. In terms of Zaha, quickly, obviously was on loan at Galatasaray. If I can just find his stats for this season, it's not too bad, I don't think. Obviously, Turkish league is a bit of a weird one. Played a few times in the Champions League, so I managed to get 1 goal, 1 assist there. Obviously, it was in the same group as United and Copenhagen, I think. One more team. Obviously, mainly plays on that left-hand side, the Zaha, but obviously can play up top now and again, which if he did join, I probably could see that being the idea. In terms of his performances last season, 9 goals, 3 assists in 30, it isn't too bad. And obviously, he's fairly old, but he's got bags of experience, and I still think he's a player who can make a significant impact. So, yeah, I think for me this would be a fantastic piece of business. Obviously, there was some talks about Steven Bergwijn. That doesn't seem to be progressing at all. In terms of Fabio Carvalho, he's going to Brentford on loan, which is a bit of a shame considering he's going to a rival. But yeah, that one is done and dusted. So that's probably why Leicester gone with Buonanotte. But apparently Carvalho is only 15 million or something like that, potentially with some add-ons. But yeah, for about 20 million, I think it could be one which has gone missing for Leicester. And I think for Brentford, that's a fantastic signing for them. So it is a bit of a shame. Would be a class loan, to be fair, but yeah, it's a good question. But I think based upon today and based upon the situation, Mark, I really do think he could be up top. Really, I know it's not his natural position, but I think Zaha could do a job at top. He usually finishes. He runs at people. I don't think he's fantastic with the ball facing the coming back and laying one off, but I think with the options we have available right now, which could be just Tom Cannon, because obviously Vardy's out, Daka's probably going to be injured. But you have Tom Cannon as our only striker option, and I don't think he's ready. So for me, I think if you could play Zaha up top, who's not his natural position, he's probably going to do a better job. Anyway, shall we discuss today's game? Because that, I managed to watch pretty much most of it apart from the first 5 minutes or so, and I'm glad I missed the first 5 because I wished I missed the whole game because that was atrocious. So yeah, a defeat in France to end pre-season. Obviously, ended Lens 3, Leicester City 0, which was the other way around. Should have been about 6. Some people will say I'm going to overreact here, but that performance was absolutely awful. There was absolutely nothing. I don't think we had a clear shot on target. Mads made a few big saves. He hit the post a few times and that type of thing. It could have been a lot more, and they did rip us apart. I believe their season, I think it starts next week as well, so it's not like they're ahead of us in pre-season. But even so, we should be ready now. We've got 1 week until the Premier League kicks off. A little longer for our game on Monday night, and if we play like that against Tottenham, we're going to get absolutely destroyed. Just imagine likes of Son and Maddison, even Dominic Solanke now. So he's made the move to Tottenham today. Kulusevski, etc. They're going to destroy us. And Lens, aren't an awful team, but they're not top team. So it just doesn't fill me with any optimism whatsoever. And the thing which is most concerning, because I don't mind if Leicester lost 3-0 but created chances and played all right, I wouldn't be too disappointed. But we didn't really seem to have any structure, any identity to our game whatsoever. It just seems like we just wanted to sit back the entire game and just try and get the other attack on the break. And even when we did sit back, we had 2 banks of 4. We were very compact, and they still managed to get shots away and score. And that first 15 minutes in the second half was probably one of the worst 15-20 minutes I've seen for Leicester for a long time. I know it's pre-season, but for me, it just feels like, look, it's the last game. It's like our next game, the next time we see the boys walk out onto the pitch is going to be Tottenham at home on Monday night on Sky Sports, and we could get absolutely embarrassed in front of everybody. So I am very worried about that game now, to be perfectly honest. I don't think we're ready at all. We probably need another month, to be perfectly honest. But we'll get into Cooper's comments, but he's quite frustrated as well. He wants to get players in, and it's the same story again. And I could rant about this for a long time. It's the same thing once again. It seems like every manager Leicester City have over the past couple of seasons, I said in every transfer window, we need players in. It'd be good to strengthen the squad. It's just the same thing, and we never learn from our mistakes, and it's because of a few people, John Rudkin. And I'll be honest, we need to have a big look at the board and up top and top quite literally, because people say, oh, it's he's done. Obviously we all love Vichai and what Top's family has done for Leicester City, but as of right now, he's not improving us and he's making us worse by pretty poor decisions off the field. How John Rudkin's still in a job, and obviously it's not just John Rudkin, there's other people around him, but as a director of football, what is he doing? Um, it just seems that it's the same cycle over and over again. You had the internal review when Leicester got relegated. I don't think we've learned a single lesson from that. We've made signings this year on stupid wages. We've extended Vestigar for 3 years. We've bought Deco de Maria, who's a good signing, but he could be on some high wages. We don't know. So I just don't get it, to be perfectly honest. And the transfer business, we started so well, and since then it's just been poor. And obviously we brought in Buonanotte today, which is a good piece of business. Don't get me wrong, but we need more, and it's just too late now. The first few games have got, in my opinion, just going to be a write-off at this point because the squad is nowhere near ready to compete. And I think the squad is not a bad place, but we just need a few more additions just to secure it. Because I think the way Cooper wants to play, we have players who are not playing in the right positions, and it just doesn't look right, in my opinion. But anyway, run over for now. We'll go again in a minute. How Leicester have fallen, players going to Brentford over 100%. Yeah. The players are not playing for. I won't say. I don't know about that, but the players look a bit confused, in my opinion, and they seem, I don't know, a bit shocked confidence already. I don't know why they would be, but yeah, Cooper hasn't really gotten going yet. We beat Villarreal first game. We thought we were going to do well, but Jesus, just pulled the flattest Guinness ever. Fair enough. We are so finished. As of right now, we are, but I'd give it time. But I think everyone can agree it's not been a good preseason at all. And preseason obviously doesn't mean everything. But even last year when we lost games, we lost like, what was it, 4-0 to Liverpool? But I'm still happy with that because we played some good football in that game. We had a clear process of how Leicester wanted to play, and obviously we're not going to be as tactically rigid as we were last year under Enzo. But you still want to see some kind of identity and some kind of structure, because when Leicester come up against teams around us like Ipswich, Southampton, that type of thing, we need to bring the games to them. We can't be just sitting back the old game. I don't mind us sitting back against the top six and try and get a goal on the counter. No one expects us to win, and we probably won't. But Lens aren't a top six Premier League team, and we made it today. It looked like we were playing against full strength Man City on fire. We're getting destroyed, so I don't really get it. I do think that Leicester City will be okay. We have the squad, the world class facilities, the fan base. It is all revolving around John Rudkin, indeed. The world class facilities, which are not really used in pre-season, which I don't get. But yeah, I don't think the squad is actually that bad. Some people are saying that we're awful, but we've got some good European players in there who've got experience at the very top level. It's just about trying to get them all into the same team in positions and give them confidence to perform. We've got players like, when Samare joined us, I know he's not great, but when Samare joined us, we all thought we were getting a fantastic player. And I still say it. Samare I still think he can do something. I don't know. He's got all the attributes to do well, but he's just a little bit too slow for the Premier League, in my opinion. But anyway, that's one player. But yeah, the squad's a weird one. It's a good mix. Also, we now got 2 injuries, potentially 3. Connor Cody's out for a month. Jamie Vardy's still not going to be back for the Tottenham game, so strikers is definitely needed. Obviously, Daka went down today and didn't look too good after an injury, and obviously I think it was a connection to the ankle. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. But I'd be very surprised if Daka's back, in the next couple of days, because it didn't look like a good one. We do not have the fan base. The home support is embarrassed. Our home support, yeah, when it's good though, it is good. It's just we need a team who we can get behind. Why do the players never get any stick? I think the players do get enough stick, but I think in terms of I think in terms of Leicester situation right now, it's a bit wider than just the players. It's more at the top of the club and how we've gone about our business this summer. Because for me, we just never learn from our mistakes. That's the way I see it. In other points deduction, if we finish below Saints Ipswich, yeah, it is 100%. And I've seen a thing on Twitter about Ipswich's, Ipswich's starting 11 potential against, was it Liverpool first game? It looks awful. But then again, they've got a manager who's got a system and can do well with them. And I say this a lot. With Newcastle when they got a Champions League, their squad wasn't Champions League level, but they had a manager and the system where the players all work well in the system. It just elevated them an extra 20% to get into the Champions League, and I think that's how football is these days. It's all well and good having these good players individually, but if you can have a full 11 or 10 outfield players who can play in a system well and work well together, it's probably better for you. And obviously, football's very tactical nowadays. And Leicester don't really seem to have much tactics at the minute. Players have. What was funny to say, the players were awful today. Don't get me wrong. But then again, the manager didn't set them up in a way to, in my opinion, to do anything really. But that could have been obviously the players not, adjusting to the style, ignoring the instructions. We don't know. But I think today was just a big highlight for the players, and hopefully, wake some of them up at, the fact that, this is how poorly we played today, and the Tottenham game is going to be 10, 20, 30 times more difficult than the game today against Lens. But anyway, let's just try and look at it a bit more tactically then. If anything, the team was a bit of an interesting one. Some interesting people missing. That's obviously the team we started with. I don't know why it's come up with this kit, but anyway, obviously we had Mads Hermansen in goal, Justin at right back, a back four of Caleb Akoli, Wout Faz, Victor Christensen. Obviously Christensen goes much higher up, and that kind of goes into a back three. Hamza, Wolf, and Harry Winks as a midfield three. I don't really get that, to be perfectly honest. That's giving me Claude Puel vibes where we played in Didi Hamza and Papi Mendy, who, fully enough, played in this game as well. Then obviously we had Declan Over-Reed on the right, who I don't think did too much, but then again, no one did anything. Fatawu, who, I hate to say it, but so far in pre-season, he hasn't looked the same player. But obviously still early days. Daka didn't really get any serve. And to be fair, we can just ignore these front players because they didn't get anything. I can't remember stringing together a consecutive attack. It was just kind of win the ball back, a few passes and go from them, and then we gave it away. In terms of defensively, the goals, a lot of them were from crosses. I remember one coming to this back post area. Caleb and Justin were kind of sleeping. I can't remember them too much, so I won't go too in detail on the goals itself. But in terms of the team, if that's the team which starts against Tottenham with that, I'd be very shocked. I don't know why Ricardo wasn't starting. If we do look at the bench, obviously there was no Mavadidi in there. For me, I think Vestergaard could probably start, to be fair. I think I feel a bit more secure with him in the side, to be perfectly honest. Obviously, McAteer came on, Cannon came on. Samore also came on. It's good to see Will Alves get run out as well. Interesting enough, there's no Golding on the bench. He scored in a behind closed doors game against West Brom, so I assume that was the under 21s or 23s or whatever it is in a pre-season game there. But obviously Buonanotte was with the boys, not actually in the squad, so he obviously couldn't play. But I think one of the most concerning things is how quickly these goals went in. 47, 53 and 57. 3 goals conceded in 10 minutes. And, if that's in the Premier League, that could work. That could easily happen because the momentum's, it's bad in that league. And if you give chances away, 9 times out of 10 they'll score it. It's not like the Championship where you've got, I wouldn't say poor strikers because they're still high level, but you've got strikers who aren't going to score every single chance. So it's one of them. And Lens, they look very good going forward. To be fair, they look like a fantastic side. And they don't have I don't really recognise too many players in that team. And look what they did to us. So interesting enough, it was Will Still actually as a manager. So yeah, we got Will Still today. Anyway, let's get back into the chat. I think team news against Tottenham is going to be very interesting because I still don't really know how Leicester are going to set up, and that's the worrying thing for me because I think last year, apart from the personnel, we kind of all knew how Leicester were going to play after pre-season because even the first game we saw in Diddy in that high roll, and at first we were like, what's he doing there? But obviously it turned out not to be too bad. And even today, and Diddy was playing quite high. And if you're playing in the Premier League with Wilfred and Diddy as your pivot, it's never going to work. He's not that tough a player. And, you know, last season he was all right at it, to be fair to him. But I think in the Premier League, I don't think Wolf cuts it as that, you know, advanced 8. But yeah. Let's get back into the chat. Agreed when everyone gets involved, the KP is there, but unfortunately, half the time people don't get involved. Well, to be fair, to answer that, there's a lot of fans last season who got frustrated at the football, understandably. Personally, I enjoyed it, but I can see why some people didn't like it because it was slow and boring. So, you know, and Cooper's banged on at the fact that we're going to play some attacking football. So there's not really too much excuses this season to not be loud. I remember last season, the Southampton game where we played a counter-attacking football. It was a fantastic atmosphere and it pushed the lads on. And so if we can replicate that for a few games this season, obviously it's not going to happen every single game. It's impossible. But obviously it does massively help. And the atmosphere this season has got to be good. But talking of the atmosphere, if Leicester, you know, can see 2 early goals to Tottenham, I can really see it. I could see it getting quite toxic quite quickly this season. And that's why I said a few times, we need to start this season good. It's very important we do. And even more so than any season. And by the looks of it, I don't think we are. So, yeah. I honestly have no hope for this season. But yeah, it's always positive. It feels like we're back for a few seasons ago anyway. Cody is out for a few months. Yeah, that's a good point, to be perfectly honest. Obviously, he's gone to Sheffield United, but that's what I don't get. If Sutor's not a part of our plans, just sell him now, because he's been in long enough, and you know there's clearly something not right with him. I think he's a good player, but to be fair, I wouldn't start Sutor, but I think he's more than good to be third choice centre back. And you know, he wasn't involved last season. He's gone out on loan now. I just don't really get it. Well, that preseason was shocking. 2 shots in the whole game. I know Lens are a good side, but it doesn't fill me with confidence, 100%. And that's the thing. The other games weren't good as well. The other concerning thing is we're not scoring goals. You know, we're struggling everywhere. Still got Cody, Faz, Vestergaard, but yeah, Sutor is never that bad for us. Needs at least a chance, 100%. I think the only positive of Sutor is that it potentially promotes Ben Nelson. And I personally think Ben Nelson's going to be a really good centre back in a few years. So hopefully he can get some more game time. But then again, is Ben Nelson ready for the Premier League? I don't think so. For a club like Leicester, it's a catch. 22 fans want players in, but the only way to get players we want is to give them high wages. Yeah, the fans moan about wages. Yeah, you're right. I think in terms of wages, I think the wage structure is pretty hard to reverse now because you know that problem has been ongoing for years now. And you know, if players come in and see some players are on massive high wages, they're going to be like, why? You know, why not me? So it's pretty much an impossible problem to solve it until you sell them players, and then you got to restructure the whole wage system. But it's one of the things, because I remember a few years ago when Leicester were linked with some top players. I remember when we were linked to Coutinho for a bit. Obviously, he ended up at Aston Villa, but there was a lot of talk about we can't sign them because of the wage structure. You know what I mean? And now we're in this situation. It's just backwards, isn't it? But yeah, it's so frustrating. There's a point deduction guaranteed. I think so. Yeah. Leicester has to start. I tend to agree, to be perfectly honest. I don't want to be negative on him, but I don't think Cody's had the greatest of pre-seasons. He's not been awful, but he hasn't really impressed me. Like, oh yeah, he should start. So personally, I'd probably keep it as Vestergaard and Fast, to be perfectly honest. I know some people don't like that, but I think vast majority of the time they weren't too bad last season, and it's all about experience. Vestergaard's got Premier League experience. He's played for Denmark in big games. Faz had a good Euros for Belgium as well, so I don't really see why they shouldn't play. When it's FIFA 25, oh, God knows, I don't play that rubbish anymore. We moan about high wages for bang average players. With someone like Vardy, it's fine, or even high quality signing. Yeah, that's the thing. Is you've got to manage it, but Leicester have just made some silly decisions in recent years, which it just it puts us on the back foot. Vestergaard's too slow for the Prem, true, but based upon today, there's going to be no space in behind at all, so it'd probably be all right. But yeah, it depends on what type of line we play, but just like I said, based upon today, I don't think that line's going to be too high, so that shouldn't be much of an issue. Sutar we can't sell. Exactly that. Yeah, and that comes down to my point. It's just impossible to move these players on, and it's a shame for Sutar because when he moved from Stoke to us to get that Premier League move, I think we all thought, he could probably come on to be a good player in the Premier League, and he still could be, but just feels like we've wasted a few years in his career. But if he does well at Sheffield United, he'll probably end up there after the season. Southampton are going to be stinky as well. As don't worry, Ipswich might get. Yeah, that's true. But how come? But yeah, that's two teams, and we're probably going to be the other one to go down. So we need to hope we can catch up to the rest of them. And I think personally, I thought Brentford could be down there, and they've just gone and snapped up Carvalho. So it's a good sign for them. I swear I saw something about Nelson going on loan. I think so. I don't know if I think it was Sunderland. I think, but I haven't heard anything about that. But I think so, yeah. But I haven't seen any updates. I'm happy we're trying to use the loan system, but if they don't buy clause, I'm going to be. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I've said it a few times. I think loans are the best way for Leicester in our financial situation, and obviously it isn't ideal. But then again, even if there isn't an obligation to buy, if you do well at Leicester, you still have that buying power. It's the same with Tillemans. Obviously, he came to us for half a season, did fantastically well, had offers on the table from other clubs in the Premier League, but he's been at Leicester. He knows what it's about. You are more likely to come, but obviously that more depends upon the player. Obviously, an option to buy is always good, but I think for someone like Buonanotte, who obviously signed today, I think an option to buy for him would have been pretty impossible to do, really. Will Kennedy and Cooper get all the stick? Probably. Yeah. How Wilfried Zaha is a shock for Leicester? I don't think any of us really saw it. If that's the question, personally, I think it's a bit out of the blue. But anyway, obviously there was the post-match interview today, which I think we should have a look at now. Obviously, Owen Palmer-Atkins was out there for BBC Radio Leicester. Big up to him. So yeah, this is obviously on the injury news. I know a couple of us have mentioned it in the chat already. So this is from Steve Cooper after today's game. Jamie Vardy and Conor Cody will miss the opening game of the season with Spurs on August 19th. Cody expected to be out for a month. Daka's leg is still in a boot and will be assessed. And I watched his interview and he didn't really know about Vardy either, so that's probably going to be another 2 to 3 weeks. So yeah, not positive at all. It's weird with Cody. Like I personally thought Cody was going to be a shoo-in, but it's the same as last season now. We all thought Cody was going to start every single week for Leicester. He got injured. Vestergaard came in and pretty much established his pace, and it's pretty impossible to replace Vestergaard. The same situation could be happening again with Conor Cody. So that is another big shame as well. But I want to get into this bit now from Cooper, which is very interesting. I recommend you go on Twitter and watch his interview. Obviously, I can't put it on here, but I recommend you go and watch the interview because it was very telling about his frustration. But yeah, this is from the quotes from Cooper. Then I do like that he's honest about it. There was nothing good about our in possession game. We shouldn't have been defending as much as we did in the first half, but we actually looked okay, which is true, I guess. Then it was a really weak start to the second half, which cost us the result. So at least he's facing up to the fact. And I think it's probably more on the players today, if anything. But yeah, I just think we're just defending far too much, and I think Cooper's is probably right. I don't know if we were good, but yeah, he's not wrong at all in that. And the second one, I think, is one down here. Yeah, and obviously this is talking about his new signings, which I think is a very indirect message to the John Rudkin, etc., the leadership at Leicester City. We're all crying out for some fresh blood, especially the players. That's quite important. Let's hope that we can strengthen sooner rather than later. In some areas of the pitch, we're desperate for it and have been for a while. So yeah, it's kind of Brendan Rodgers 2.0 this, but I don't really blame him, to be perfectly honest, because he said a few weeks ago he's not going to sit there and cry about it, but he still hasn't got anything. So it's one of them. And even on Buonanotte, he was like, oh yeah, it's good to sign him. Sadly, he couldn't get done in time for today's game. So I think Cooper's getting increasingly frustrated at the board at Leicester City, and Top's not going to do anything about it once again. And we're just going to keep going around in this circle for the next 10 years if Rudkin's still here, because it's not going to get any better, is it? Probably going to get worse. I don't know why the ownership just can't be transparent, because the way I think it goes, they bring in a new manager, they give them all these promises, and then when the transfer window comes down, they go, oh yeah, by the way, Steve, we haven't got any money, we can't sign anybody. And that's kind of, I think that was the case of Enzo, really, because he had all them transfer signings or the planned signings in January, and Senti was done, and then Rudkin's probably, oh yeah, we can't actually get him because of FFP. We got a 10-point deduction coming. It's like the board just doesn't seem to be very transparent at all. Obviously, I don't know, but that's the way I see it. Anyway, let's get back into the chat. Not too happy today, as you can probably tell. If we had a proper academy, then we would be fine. I don't think our academy is too bad, to be perfectly honest. 3-5-2 the way to go. Play Denmark, do 2 up top. Yeah, probably good shout, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, I think Vestergaard could probably suit a back 3 because he's probably not as exposed as a 2. Cooper is a top lad that unfortunately doesn't have the tools he needs to. Yeah, to be fair, you're probably not wrong. It's clear to see he wants players, and he's got targets as well, which is good to see. It's not like Forest where the owner brought in like 20-odd players. He's not asking for that. He's asking for another 3 to 4 top quality players who can improve their sides, and he's just not getting it. Rookie doesn't have an or is it Cooper? Probably a mix of. Yeah, I think Cooper's not the ideal manager. If you cast your minds back to when he got announced, obviously I wasn't too happy. I'd be much happier if we were sat here with Graham Potter in charge, but we're not. But it's always hard for a manager who's got a system of playing and he can't get the players to play that system. When potentially he could have been told that at the start that we can bring these players in, and now Leicester is struggling. Top just not ready to take responsibility of the club. 100% agree, and it's the same with Brent. It's the same with Brendan Rodgers. I come back to this. Aston Villa sacked Steven Gerrard about 8 games into that season. We went down, and Leicester made just as poor of a start. We were about the same points. They sacked him, got Emery, and now they're in the Champions League. We kept hold of Brendan, went down, and now we're probably gonna go down again at this rate. So it's just that lack of responsibility, and obviously there are different situations. Obviously Brendan did far more than Gerrard did for Villa, but it comes down to that. And Vichai did it when obviously he sat Ranieri. Everyone was like, why are you doing that? But it turned out to be a pretty decent situation. But obviously you don't want to compare him to Vichai. Whatever. Yeah. Try and go past again. HMS go down. Yeah, our academy ain't bad, but we spent last 5 years crafted 4 potential future first team players at Man City. Yeah, but that's Man City though. To be honest with you can't really compare Leicester and Man City. But I think academy is going to be interesting this season, but it's always hard to promote players when you are in the Premier League. I think last year was more of a chance. It's just a shame that obviously the likes of Alves and Braybrook were obviously injured for that one. What's my opinion on the away shirt? I think originally I absolutely hated it. Now I don't really like it, but I don't think it's as bad. But yeah, I'm not fantastic. I think in terms of kits, so you have to have a good look at them. So I looked at the home kit in the shop the other day for the first time, and I think it's actually a lot different than it looks on the photos. There's a lot more details. So yeah, I think kits is always a weird one. I think the third kit, talking of kits, is going to be announced within the next week or so. Obviously, that's probably going to be a white strip, pretty boring. But who cares about kits when we'd rather sign some players? Anyway, before we wrap things up, I have a quick look on Twitter just to see if there is any updates in terms of transfers or whatnot. Don't think there will be, but you never know. Obviously, we got the news last night about Wilfried Zaha, so hopefully that one is progressing nicely. But yeah, apart from that, there is nothing to discuss. So I think we've pretty much gone through everything. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming in tonight. It's massively appreciated. I won't go on for too long because my voice is dead already. Make sure to go and drop a like though if you have enjoyed it for some more regular Leicester City content on the channel. We'll be back live on Monday, hopefully, to discuss some more transfer news. Obviously, then we'll really start to look ahead to the start of the Premier League season. Of course, the Championship did return today. Well done to Leeds United on a fantastic start to their season. But could be a lot worse. But that's we're not we're not in the best situation as of right now for Leicester. But a successful day on the transfer front, but not really on the pitch. Obviously, welcome to Leicester. Buonanotte. It's good to see him get through the door. Hopefully, he can have that impact, which I think we all expect him to do so. Hopefully, he can hit the ground running, no injuries, and we can really make the most of that loan. Because I think he's a fantastic player, and he's going to be a real superstar potentially in the next couple of years as well. So that's good business. Fair play to Leicester on that one. Hopefully now we can get a few more in. A striker now is 100% needed. Cooper is going to be banging on the door for a new striker to come in after all the injuries today. Another midfielder as well, in my opinion, is needed, and probably another fullback as well at this rate. But yeah, still a long way to go. We've got about over 20 days or so left of the transfer window, so there's still enough time to get stuff done. But we're not in the best of situations to be starting. But anyway. Last comment of the day. What a player we're going to have when Zaha hopefully comes. Fingers crossed, anyway. Massive sign if we can get it done. But we'll have to wait and see. But I think we'll get an update on that potentially tonight or the next couple of days or so. But anyway, boys, thank you for coming in. Much appreciated as always. And I'll see you on Monday night for some more Leicester City transfer news. But finally, the season now is pretty much a week ago. Thank God for that. Or a week to go, sorry. Don't know if that's a good thing or not. I'll see you later.